flag. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can we have the secretary perform a roll call attendance, please?
Here.
Here.
Here. Here.
Here. Okay. All right. All board members should have received the minutes from the March 2nd meeting. If there's no discussion regarding them, entertain a motion to accept the
Motion to
minutes.
accept the minutes.
Second.
Okay, motion's made second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. That's good. All right. Okay, our first item is a discussion regarding Mylan lot consolidation. And I do see the applicant did come tonight. Okay. Huh? Okay. Yeah, no.
It's me. Sopus got
I
canceled.
was giving a, yeah.
Sopus was canceled, so I'm
Given-
here.
Yeah, we were given a message the other day that nobody was going to come, but obviously you're here. You did receive the resolution from the planner?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Basically, there's nothing new on the plan currently.
The only thing that's new is the Board of Health approval to sale.
Okay, so a block for the Board of Health to approve the
That was it.
plan. Okay. All right, which is a condition of what we're going to do tonight.
Yep.
All right, so if there's no comments or concerns regarding the resolution, entertain a motion to approve the resolution as drafted.
I'll make that motion.
The second.
Okay, motion's made, seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Seeing none, motion carries. Simple as that.
All right.
This is, yeah, all you have to do is just follow the outline within the resolution, bring in the final map to the building department office, or actually to our secretary, and once, everything, all the conditions have been met, and everything's, ready for me to sign it, they'll notify me, I'll come in and sign the map.
Excellent.
Okay?
All right. Thanks, everyone.
All right, you're welcome.
Great night.
Good night. Have a good night. Okay. All right. Okay, our next item on the agenda is 7 Brew Coffee for amended site plan approval.
It's one of those.
Oops.
Okay, Doug Beachel with 7 Brew. I just want to give you an update, really, from last time I was here. Since the initial application, I did go to the zoning board just to ultimately make sure, what we're trying to do could be achievable based on, front yard setback on our proposed plan. Had that initial meeting, then came out a week and a half ago on a Saturday to build 10-foot tall reproductions of my canopy, and met the ZBA out there and then drove back. So we had a good chat. That's why they gave me their recommendation. Probably just because they felt bad that I spent 4 hours here, 4 hours back. It's my 4th time in about the last 2 weeks, I feel like. I'm commuting to town of Wappinger. So, but I can kind of go through some of the changes we've made and where we stand, unless you have any other specific questions to start.
I don't know, does any of the board members have any specific questions that they have? I mean, if not, we could kind of go through and just review the, the 2 letters from the planner and the engineer. I don't think there's a lot. You did receive both those letters, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
I admonished for not speaking into the mic. Let me flip this. This should be a revised plan. So I did get the 2 letters, and, you know, based on the comments from the last meeting in the interim, we basically just kind of took some of those comments and some of the county comments and just kind of came up with a new sketch plan concept. I haven't told my engineer to basically move into a formal site plan drawing yet because I wanted to get through ZBA first and just say, okay, are there going to be any wholesale changes? If not, we can kind of use this. So I also have photos of our building,
Okay.
which a particular gentleman on the ZBA wanted to see. We did reduce we were overparked, so I think we had 13 spaces originally. We've reduced it to 9. I still, currently on this plan, there's 4 over here with the ADA one, and there's 5 up here. We did put a crosswalk in from the sidewalk in front of our building over, and then extended the sidewalk so we can get to the front of the plaza and that sidewalk. We would have no issue moving our ADA parking over here as well. We do like to keep some parking on the internally because, like you had mentioned, you know, our employees there's no break room. It's a 510 square foot building, and there's you know, multiple people just producing beverages. So they'll like to walk out to their car and kind of just use that as their break room. So we like to try to keep some internal parking just so they're closer. If they do take break during peak times, which typically we try to avoid, you know, they're not crossing the queue as well. So, but we're open to really anything. So, you know, that really just kind of took into consideration some of the county's comments. We do have a revised lighting plan that I believe meets code. I received that last week. That'll be part of our next submission. And then I will have a sign package that can go along with this. You know, our building basically has a sign on the front and currently, you know, we have a sign on each side. You know, we would propose removing the sign backing up to the plaza.
Okay.
We'd like to try to still have the front signage and then the one facing Route 9. We don't propose a pylon sign, so really it would just be the directionals, basically drive this way, drive that way, and then you know, the signage on the building. So my sign package will show that.
Will they end up needing a waiver if they just go with the 2? Square footage?
I would like to ask Barbara, because it's a corner lot, I mean, I guess technically it's a corner lot, so it's allowed to have 2, but it's a pad on a corner lot that is not on the corner. So, you know, Popeyes is much closer to the corner, and I think that we certainly included them. They were allowed to have one on the side, one on either side. So I'd be curious how Barbara interprets the code in this regard, because technically
I wouldn't have a problem.
The code talks about a corner lot, and this is not, you know, your pad is not the lot is the shopping center.
Right.
So
It makes sense to have.
I don't have a clean answer for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know we did, there was a bunch of signs with Popeyes when they came in.
Yeah.
They came in with a lot more than they were proposing on this, so, and we had to kind of scale that back to give an approval, but
Those 2 don't look excessive, though.
no. Okay.
The sign package will have the square footage of everything, right? Because that'll
Yes.
be
Yeah.
part of the question.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a generic sign package, but as long as they were working on it, I'd rather get one from our sign company.
And we'll take a look at the lighting plan that you submit. Do you have any questions with respect to the lighting plan?
No, not on the overall lighting plan, but we do have this blue LED, or not LED, blue flex light that goes along our canopy. We discussed it briefly last time.
Yeah.
It goes here, and it follows the outline up top.
Okay.
Just, at some point, want to figure out the best path for discussion purposes on that. It's really, it's a requirement with a brand. We do have a shield that we can put there.
So they're just downward, basically.
Yeah, and it's dimmable too. So I do have a photo, although it's terrible because I printed it on my printer today. I'm going to have some better photos of these at night that show, the lights off, medium and high. And, we can control it with site plan on, what level that is. The medium isn't too bad. The high is, I'll admit it, it's pretty bright. You see blue on the ground. And it's a photo of a site in Ohio a couple weeks ago with snow everywhere, so it doesn't help either.
It picks that up, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm trying to, get a little bit better representation of that.
That's shielded to
So-
direct it downward?
Yes.
There's no upward light on that?
No.
Okay.
This was another thing that was pointed out by the county, and again, I'd be curious to hear Barbara weigh in on this. The county points out that the lighting code that we have prohibits neon strip lighting. But of course, it uses the word neon.
Yeah, and then
And
neon, that's
the LED strip lighting is not neon, but it is effectively the same thing.
It's a similar.
Yeah, so, the code did not anticipate the invention of LED. It was describing aesthetically what these LED strips are doing now with the technology of its day. So, it is not technically prohibited by the code, but the spirit of the code prohibits it, and so it may end up being a judgment call for the board. You may want to see what the zoning administrator has to say, weighing in on that. But that's where we stand.
I mean, my experience with some other codes that I've worked with is that, technology changes, and you can't go through a zoning amendment every time there's a new technology, so you try to interpret it in the spirit of what makes sense.
Yeah,
So I think it should be looked at in that light, no pun intended.
yes. I agree with you, but of course, you are in the situation where it specifies neon, but that is essentially what we're talking about. So I think that if you have alternatives where it is at least shielded and sort of more accent lighting that reflects blue onto the building as opposed to glowing outward, we'd like at least like to see that for comparison.
Okay. Yeah, I have renderings of it, but I don't have any good photos that are available to me today. So, but I wanted to just discuss it because we'll be trying to,
have a plan,
figure that out
B,
as we
yeah,
move
just
through
in
this.
case.
The other thing I wanted to mention too was, with the variance and allowing us to be where we are on the space, it may be helpful. This shows the Sonic building and then where we are. So our main building is right here and our canopy extends over. So ultimately, their back corner is about where our building is, and then our canopy is what really extended further into the space. By being closer to 9, it does, take a lot of our, some of the traffic that's queuing on the other side. But with the canopy height and the change in grade and kind of being pushed up against the road a little bit, and the current vegetative buffer that is there between the trees and then this hedgerow, I think it's better that we're closer to the road because it really would hide some of this traffic over here, along with a canopy that goes over one full lane and then halfway over the second lane, really over your driver's side window. I just think it's laying out better the more I look at it and the more time I spend on the site. So,
Are you guys removing some blacktop around there? Or is that's what it used to look like? I mean, that's what it looks like now.
that's what it
Where
looks
you
like.
got the
This is our plan overlaid Well, it's really just the Sonic building turned on. So we are going to remove blacktop over here. That it was all parking.
Yeah, that's what I thought, yeah.
And they have their canopy over there, must have been order stations where they bring it out to the vehicle.
Yeah.
I think we're going to shift the curb in a little bit on this side. I didn't get a good chance, just for snow storage. Our initial plan, landscape plan, contemplated replacing all those bushes, but those bushes extend all the way across.
Yeah.
So if all of a sudden these ones are now
Half as tall,
a
a
foot.
different species.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's a call everybody can make together, but maybe the existing ones stay rather than replace them. Just because they're, like I said, they're like kind to the ones that are already there. But, we'll do either. So, but I think we shifted the curb in a little bit, just for some snow storage between those bushes and the curb, because right now the existing curb is right up against sort of that mulch along those bushes, but just small landscape plans. And then I think there is more asphalt here in the current plan, and I think we're kind of closing in here a little bit. So ultimately it'll be more green space than it currently is, but ultimately the same vehicular motion around the building.
Less blacktop's always better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. What else we had here?
I can go through my memo briefly if you'd like.
The what?
I can go through my memo briefly if you'd like.
Yeah, if you want. I was just
So-
looking at some of the other questions. But go ahead if you want to hit the rest of them.
So there's a couple of comments in there that are, I guess, traffic engineer specific. If you have any questions about them, feel free to ask. Otherwise, I would just forward them to your traffic engineer and have them incorporate that into a revised traffic impact memo.
Yeah. I sent those off this morning to our guy, so
Perfect.
we'll basically have them prepared prior to our next.
For the most part, you already addressed the parking. If you want to retain the interior spaces, our recommendation is that those not include the handicap space, which you already talked about, and be employee only. And so you just want to add some signage to that effect. Otherwise, you can nix them. I think in your next submission, try to identify any waivers that may be required, and so double check your parking calculation. 9 spaces may be, it's based off of square footage, so because of the size of your building, 9 spaces may be still more than you're permitted by code, and you'll have to request a parking waiver. Depending on the signage package, there may be signage waivers that you're requesting. Same thing with lighting. And then the biggest takeaway from the last meeting was, whether or not the double queue, the double drive-through queue was justified. Our traffic engineers endorsed it, that it was both, suitable and required based on, the use that you were proposing. And it looks suitable. They didn't have any recommendations or comments as far as changing that.
Can I speak to that real quick? Just so after that last meeting, when the county did send their letter and brought up, reconfiguring it a lot, I did have a discussion with Tara from Dutchess County, and just sort of explained our business model a little bit more to her, and how we have. Well, we certainly don't have that many people in our queue all the time. We do have peak hours. So Saturdays from 10 to 1 are very popular, and people will wait in line and fill up our drive-through queue and sit there for 20, 30 minutes sometimes, because it's more of a social event, honestly, than it is a good coffee thing. Not that our coffee's bad, but it's just sort of it's a thing to do, and there's kind of chaos going on inside with that many people, and people like just watch our employees hustle. it's sort of a thing. And then, like I mentioned initially, on the 7th of every month, we have giveaways, and that's a peak traffic event. So our traffic study, discusses these things, and we'll address, your traffic engineer's comments. But I did have that discussion with the county and just said, we really can't reconfigure this building because it would take away the drive-through queue that we need for our business model. And she, kind of understood it and was open to that, and really just focused on the I think it was two items that the county would have, supermajority voting rights, or cause a supermajority, which was lighting and parking, both of which I think we can accommodate. So I just wanted to mention the conversation I had with the county.
Yeah, if anything, our traffic engineer, who's done, traffic studies for other 7 Brew sites, the one in Wallingford, Connecticut, liked this because your queues back up to an internal drive aisle in the parking lot and not a road. The work that they've done in Wallingford, Connecticut backs up to a road, and even with the double queue, it's basically the same site, but it backs up to the road, and that queue backs up out onto
the road,
at peak
which
hours.
which creates more of a concern.
This site too was big enough that it allowed for essentially a bypass lane, which isn't required, but if we can get it, we get it. And sometimes during those peak events or grand opening week, we will stack people in that lane sometimes just to accommodate before we have to get into a traffic management plan. But, we do hire off-duty police officers for that first week, and it is typically pretty intense, but, it mitigates once people figure out how to do it and then decide whether or not they want to wait in those kind of lines. And it all smooths out eventually. But, having that bypass lane is just great to have if you can fit it.
So rounding out my comments, I think that when we get the next submission from the applicant, we should recirculate that to the county. We should make sure we do that. And I think that the plan has reached a point whenever, you think you're coming back, whatever meeting you think that you would have that submission ready for to come back, we can either schedule a public hearing now, or we can choose to waive the public hearing, depending on, the prerogative of the board.
Well, that's a good question.
Can you waive a public hearing for site plan?
That's what I was gonna,
I don't think you
I
can.
gotta go look through my notes again.
You can for a subdivision.
I don't, huh?
You can for a site plan.
I thought, well, subdivision,
Yes.
we can, yes.
Site plan, I'm not sure.
All right, well, I'll check on that one. That's
We can
gonna
also
be-
just have the public hearing to be safe. I was under the impression that,
Yeah, I mean, we're not yet to that point anyway. So, I mean, to schedule a public hearing?
I think we can schedule a public hearing in anticipation of the next.
Anticipation of getting the plans, I mean.
Yeah, I think that if you,
How
if you have an
far-
idea of when you can come back, we're in a position where we could schedule a public hearing.
Yeah, I basically was waiting until this evening, and then I could task my engineer with making the changes, because they're relatively minor to our site plan. I'd like to come back as soon as possible, to be honest.
Well, I think that would be the second, wait,
Second meeting
in
in April.
April, yeah.
What's your submission cutoff in terms of my materials?
Submission cutoff would be 2 weeks from now, right?
Actually, today,
Oh, it is?
since I've already circulated it to outside agencies other than the county,
Yeah.
I think, sometime this week, the end of the week.
Yeah, I can get you things as they come, as they come in.
It's up to the board. We can also do the first one in May, if
The
that's.
first meeting, yeah. I don't know. What is
I
it?
think it is
Sure.
important that,
May 4th.
I'm just looking.
May 4th, I think it is important that whatever we get back, we circulate to the county and have an opportunity to get comments back from them in advance of the public hearing. That's my biggest concern.
Second meeting's April 20th.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but the submission, you're saying the submission date was
Tonight.
tonight for that. But it's already been out there a little bit, so.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
just one person one outside agency And then again, that's up to you guys. You guys have to do your comments.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if we got the plans in sometime next week, I mean, that seems to be reasonable.
Yeah, we would be able to.
By the end of next week. I mean, that gives you plenty of time to re-review everything.
Sure.
Do you think you'll be able to get the plans in by the 27th of March?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Well, they'll see it my way.
You have to persuade your engineer to kind of.
We've only got 100 of these I'm working on.
Yeah, I mean, if you get it by the 27th, I think, you know, by the 20th of April, I think we can go ahead and schedule a public hearing if the rest of the board is in favor of that.
I agree with that.
Yeah, sure. Okay. All right, so I'm going to make a motion then to schedule a public hearing for the 20th of April.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so we're pretty much scheduled a public hearing. Puts the ball back in your court to get the people on your side to kind of finish putting that package together for us. As much, you know, hopefully we get as much information as possible on that and kind of move it along from there.
By the way, the waiver provisions is for an amended site plan only.
Oh, okay.
Okay. All right.
B, is that a notice to neighbors like the
Yeah, I'll
ZBA?
get a package for you.
Okay.
All right.
Looking forward to that. I've still got green cards coming in, even though.
Yeah.
By the way, I like the photographs, so keep them coming.
All right. You want to talk any of the engineering comments
Do you
tonight?
have questions on any of them?
Not really. I mean, it's standard.
They were pretty straightforward, and
Yeah.
most of them were technical relative to the utilities. So I kind of echoing what Malcolm said, if your engineers have questions, I'm happy to talk to them over the phone,
Okay.
if that's easier.
Yeah.
The only thing I think that's worth bringing up is just the comment relative to health department, and that's just clarifying what their review intent will be for this.
Yeah, I'm in front of multiple New York health departments across the state for the same thing, for backflow preventer. And
Yeah.
I'm knee deep into that, so
They
I've got a pretty
may-
good program at this point.
I would think it would just be limited to the backflow, which is, it's just the form, it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
They may want to also see the water and sewer service connections.
Yep.
But they may not. Usually, it depends on the complexity of the service connection. Usually they don't for service connections, but I've seen them for something, this is kind of borderline, so it's just,
Yeah.
it's worth a discussion with them.
Yep. No, I'd rather have it up front than
Yeah.
down the road.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt to have a conversation with them just to find out what they're really looking for.
Yeah, every region's different. Like every town and every village and every
Yeah.
county.
Yeah.
So,
All right.
any other questions, comments?
I don't know. Board members are good with this?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm good with it. Just question on the, if a signage waiver is needed, then that would by itself be subject to a public hearing, correct? I just want to make sure the package is all together in a way that we are comfortable with it in advance of the public hearing.
Well, I don't know if it's required. I don't know if the public hearing is required for the waiver, but I mean, it does make sense if we have a public hearing. If anybody comes out and has an issue with signage, and at least we're addressing it prior to issuing a waiver. So, I mean, it allows for public comment. I mean, I couldn't imagine there being any real comment on this. Only because in the middle of, a commercial zone, everything surrounding it at all.
I'm just thinking procedurally.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. But again, we scheduled a public hearing, so we're on the side of caution anyway on this one, so. Yes, I don't see that being a problem. I think just the only thing with the signage, though, is we'll have to weigh in with Barbara, just to confirm. I know that there was issues with Popeye, so I know we worked through it, but a lot of it was a lot of it was done by knocking out a lot of the alternate signage that really didn't need to be there.
I mean, they came in asking for 4 or 5 signs.
Right, all right, they're not asking for...
They were also going to paint a mural, which we interpreted as a sign. I mean, they were
Right.
asking for the moon, and
Yeah,
they got,
yeah, so,
brought back.
okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't see it, I really don't see the signage being a real issue.
I did about 15 Popeyes about 5 years ago, and I know exactly the signage you're talking about.
All right. Other than that, I think we're good. Right?
Okay, well, I appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, so with that, we're at the end of the agenda for the evening. So if there's nothing else to discuss, entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, motion's made. Say it, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.